Hello teachers, this is the instructional guide for Primary 2, Term 1, Week 8. For this lesson, that is primarily just one booklet, and then after that, there's a test for you to assign to the students as well as homework. For this lesson, it is solving word problems using part-whole bar models, and typically there are two types of model. You have the single row model or the stack model, right? We call it the comparison model as well. What we usually do for this lesson, right, is instead of going through the learn segment, okay, we go straight into the guided practice, right? Take note, the answer key is already provided, but do not show student the answer key, because as you how you teach this, right, is you are to help, rather you have to demonstrate how to draw it and get them to draw along the way as well. Okay, so let's start with the first question. Nora makes 150 cookies and 238 tarts for a party. How many fewer cookies than tarts does Nora make? So to draw the bar model, one thing to ask student is, what kind of bar model should you draw, right? Do you draw a single bar, which is the part-whole model, or do you draw two bars, right? Or sometimes they call it stack model, the comparison model. How do you know? So the keywords that we are looking for is whether there is a comparison word here. Examples of comparison words are fewer than, right? There must be a than, comparison, fewer than, more than, cheaper than, more expensive than, greater than, less than. All right, so once you see these comparison words, it means that you draw, well, if you have two items here, you draw a two-bar or a comparison model. Now, so what it means is when you compare models, you got to draw one long and one short. So now the next thing is ask students, right? So there are cookies and tarts. Which one has a longer bar, cookies or tarts? So the answer is tarts, right? Because tarts got through 238 and then cookies got 150, right? So they're going to draw, depending on how they want to draw it, they want to draw cookies first, can, as long as they remember that the cookies is a shorter bar. Can use C to represent cookie for short. And then tarts is a longer bar, right? Because 238 is more than 150. Approximately, they have to get it correctly. Okay, so, and then remember to get them to label the quantity. So cookie is 150. And then the tarts is 238. Sorry, it's a bit messy here, but I think you get what I mean, okay? Okay, then the question, how many fewer? So where's the fewer? The fewer is the difference, right? Whether it's a fewer than or the more than is difference. So the fewer is actually here. Question mark. Right? So now how do we find out this fewer than this question mark? It'll be the greater number minus the smaller number. After that, get them to write the statement, right? So that's important. Okay, so it's not Nora makes 88 cookies, it's Nora makes 88 fewer cookies than tarts. All right, question number 2. Jamie needs some beads to make necklaces. She has 65 beads. She buys 244 more beads. How many beads does Jamie have now? So now we got to look at, think about whether you have to ask students, right? Should I draw a single bar or a stack bar, right? Comparison model. Some may say comparison, and you ask them why. They say, oh, there's the word more. But then more is not really comparison because it does not have the word then in there. Do you all see that? All right, so explain to them, because there's no then here, as opposed to this question. This one has fewer than, right? More than, because there's no then here, it is not comparison. So they draw a single bar. All right, so how can they draw? Let's start with the first one, right? You can do it step by step. I always tell them draw it sentence by sentence. So she has 65 bits. So draw one bar to represent 65 bits. Always remember the label. They put in numbers first before they continue drawing. And then what happens? And then she buys 244 more bars. That means it continues, right? $244 more beats. Now, if the student prefer to draw one bar, okay, sorry, let me finish this first. 244, and how many beats does Jamie have now? So it is a question mark. Sometimes the student may just draw one long bar first, for the very experienced one. And because they know that this is a part-whole model, then one part here is 65. That's fine as well. Right? One part here is 65. And then the other part here is 244. Okay. And after that, they draw the question mark, right? So how many in total? Question mark. That is fine as well, right? So it's based on student comfort level, but more importantly, they understand why they are drawing a double bar versus a single bar. Okay, then get them the right equation. It's very important. Just like here, you need to get them the right equation as well. And after that, the statement. Okay. Now, I think by now they should have an idea. So now this one, you might want to test them, right? How does this work? Okay, ask them. Okay, so single bar or comparison. So they see there's a more than. Okay, so they will say more than, and then ask them to try drawing. So they have to decide, right? So you might want to get them along. Say, okay, so now which one do you think is a longer one? Which one is a shorter one? How do they know? So they may say 321 pencils is the longer one. All right, why? Because they don't know markers yet. They got to look for this word. 125 more pencils. So here already say that there are more pencils, which means you draw a longer one, right? Longer one for pencils. And then the shorter one for the markers, right? Remember the label and so on. Okay, and then where is the more? This is the one that student may get confused. So first of all, that's why it's always important for them to draw 3, 2, 1 first. After they draw the pencils, write 3, 2, 1 first. Otherwise, they will indicate this as 1, 2, 5, right? Which is wrong. All right, this is not 1, 2, 5. So they draw the pencils. They indicate that this is 3, 2, 1. Then they draw the marker, which is shorter one, and then 125. Where is it? Some may put 125 here, but you tell them no, it's actually 125 more. It's not 125 markers, right? So they need to see that. Then they realize, oh, I'm supposed to find out how many markers there are. So that's why this is the question mark, and the more than is the difference, right? So more than, fewer than is always the difference. You can explain to them, right? The difference. Okay. Now, after this, I would like you to get them to do a few questions. Okay, so you can get them to do, let's see, in total, there are not a lot of questions here. So what I would like you to do is, let's see, get them to do, it seems quite easy. I want to make sure that there's some enough for them to do as homework. Okay, so I think maybe just get them to do 1 and then 2. All right, do 1 and 2 in class. And then 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I will, we can assign some work. All right, if you think they need more practice, then perhaps do one more. There's only one, there's only one other comparison model. So I would like them to do as homework. I think we can just stop it there. If the lesson ends earlier, remember there's a test paper you can get them to do first. Okay. All right, that's it for today's, or rather for this week's P2 lesson. Thank you.